Oh, this could be very controversial, but like, can she act?
We actually never chemistry right together.
Really?
Not being shady.
To them.
Man, is this a theme now? I'm gonna cry. Hi, my name is Kayla Kunke. I am a Canadian actress who's based in Toronto, and I had so much fun reacting to the last video that I decided to do it again. This is another Varieties Actors on Actors. I just love these conversations so much. I feel like there's just so much valuable information that these actors say. This week we'll be reacting to Ariana Grande and Paul Mescal's Actors on Actors video. Ariana Grande was promoting Wicked and Paul Mescal was promoting Gladiator 2, which I do have to say again, I think this is a great pairing. Both actors started because of their love for musical theater and started in musical theater, but also these films that both these actors are promoting have a huge fan base and they both have really big shoes to fill. They both also can relate on the pressures of filming these iconic films and playing these iconic characters, and should be interesting to hear what they have to say. So let's just get on into it.
How's it going?
Good, how about you?
I'm great. I'm great.
We share a release date,
We do indeed.
and the fans are calling it Glicked.
The fans or the marketing team? Because I mean, I never heard Wicked. Just saying. A lot of films did this after Barbie and Oppenheimer. What was it called? Bobbenham? Bobbenham? Barbiehammer? Barbenhammer? Bobbenhammer? But yeah, Barbenhammer, right? We'll say it was that. After Barbie and Oppenheimer, a lot of films have been doing this where they kind of share the press and try to make it a whole thing. So, was it the fans or the marketing team? Because I didn't hear anybody calling it that. Not being shady, just being real.
Yeah, I'm happy for them to call it whatever they want as long as they go to the theater.
I have to start by saying how brilliant you are. I watched Gladiator last night. It's unbelievable. And you're spectacular.
Thank you very, very much.
Yes, to all of that. I think Paul Mescal is such an interesting actor. I really love watching his films. I first saw him in, of course, Normal People, which, oh gosh, I know was a huge success. And I think he's played some really complicated people. Yeah, I love watching him. He's always so interesting. He's definitely somebody that if I see he's in a film, it makes me want to see the film because he is just so talented. And I mean, he's super cute. So there's that.
Thank you very, very much. No, I
Welcome.
saw Wicked about 3 weeks ago, New York. Best place to see it. That goes without saying. I
Agreed.
just think you're extraordinarily brilliant in the film. But
Thank
just
you.
beyond that, what can't you do?
Oh gosh, no, come on.
Actually, though, I remember when Ariana Grande was first announced to be playing this role, people were like, what? But like, can she act? Do you forget that Ariana Grande started as an actor? Ariana Grande has always been a triple threat. She originated a role on Broadway at 12 or 13. I don't remember how old she was. And she was on a TV show, that Nickelodeon show, Victorious. I think people forget that.
I mean, coming from you, I've seen you sing on YouTube.
We're starting there.
I have to start there because I'm
This is
sorry.
great.
I am
Aw.
a musical theater nerd and I saw you sing Les Mis. I did.
Yeah, with the dodgy mutton
It was
chop.
great.
Yeah. Okay.
It was great. No, I'm very excited because I
He
also know that
seems
you're doing
so
Merrily, and I'm a
shy.
big musical theater fan, and that's really cool. I'm very excited.
No, yeah, definitely share the musical theater book, but I feel like I
Mm.
cannot be the person to start that because we're talking about where did your love for musical theater begin?
I don't.
Yeah, that's another thing. Ariana Grande, before anything, was a musical theater lover, is a musical theater lover. I think people forget that as well.
I don't know. I mean, it was just something that spoke to me. I was a child and I would sit there watching The Wizard of Oz and study Judy Garland. And I just remember it being such an escape. I loved music. I loved the storytelling, the marriage of the music and the stories, and seeing my first Broadway show and just remembering
What was that?
It was Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, right?
But I just remember loving it so much.
Right.
Yeah, you in theater.
Started Phantom of the Opera was my beginning.
Wow.
And then
That's a big role to start out with. Phantom of the Opera. And it looks like he was Phantom. So that is not a small role, that's for sure.
the act of being on stage and to your point about kind of the fusion of acting and music, and what I
There really is nothing like being on stage. There's just something so wonderful about performing with a live audience. It just feels so special, and every show is a little bit different and every audience is a little bit different. It really works that acting muscle as well, which is why so many actors do both film and theater. They're two very different muscles, but there's nothing like theater, that's for sure.
Wicked just does extraordinarily well is this kind of, I just had such a cathartic response to watching it, because it's like a celebration of not just the musical itself, but people who like musicals will absolutely, I
Agreed.
think, adore it. What was your like start point with Wicked?
Well, I was hunting Mark Platt down for an audition. As soon as I found out that it might be happening, I just kind of told my team to be on high alert, please. And I know this has to be earned. So when they start seeing people, can I please go in? I'll do anything.
Wow.
And I worked really hard with a vocal coach and an acting coach to get ready.
Love that. Love, love, love to hear that. I really like hearing when huge stars talk about working with coaches because I think it's so important. It's really easy to see the end product and just assume that actors were able to do this amazing performance because there's something that they have that we don't. And that's not the case at all. The difference between where you might be in your career right now and a star is really just the hours they've put into their artistry. So I love to hear that, especially, I mean, Ariana Grande talking about working with a vocal coach, right? Ariana Grande, the fact that she still put in the work and worked with a vocal coach is really important to hear and impressive. She also says an acting coach here too, which is, again, also important. So really like to hear that.
Because Glinda's vocal track is very different than what I usually sing. So
What's the
True.
differences?
well, it's very operatic and very classical, sort of
Right.
coloratura, which is different from doing just like falsetto and whistle tones. It's just a totally different
She doesn't want Glinda to sound like a pop star.
placement in the voice. So
Yeah.
I wanted to train to sound authentic in singing opera, and I started
That's not a small task by any means.
2 months or 2.5 months before my first audition.
Wow.
And I don't know, it just went from there.
Yeah.
But how did Gladiator come into your life? Obviously, they just called you and begged you. I mean, was that the process?
It was like, it was different in the sense that like Ridley Scott, the great Ridley Scott, incredible, is at the point in his career where I think he can, whatever he kind of wants, he generally gets. So the process for getting it was
Must be
essentially I
nice.
met Doug Wick and Lucy Fisher. Doug was the producer on the first Gladiator, and they both, I met them at the Sunset Tower, and I was like, that was the first instance that I knew that Gladiator 2 was getting made. So I was, at that point, I felt like deeply privileged that I had this kind of private information. And then I met them, and then it went quiet for a little while, and I was like, they've gone elsewhere, they've gone to somebody else.
That's one of the most difficult parts about being an actor. The silence in between auditions or even just finding out that there's a chance you might have a role and then hearing if you actually get it, if you hear anything. The silence is torture.
Doing I was doing Streetcar Named Desire.
Which is coming to New York.
It's coming to New York.
More questions about that in you.
That was on the go at the time, and I was in London. And then got a message from my agent being like, Ridley Scott wants to Zoom. And at that point, I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
And then we spoke for half an hour. Like, it was great. We spoke for 10 minutes about the film, 10 minutes about his dog, and then 10 minutes about the sport that I played growing up. And then like, in your head, you're like, of course, there's going to be camera tests, auditions, but there just wasn't any of those things.
Wow.
You get the call.
That's the dream, honestly. That's huge to hear about, especially for such a big film as Gladiator. I mean, to hear that there was no camera tests, it doesn't really even sound like he had a true audition. I guess that also speaks to Ridley Scott as a director because he is at that point in his career where he kind of can do what he wants. It sounds like from what I'm understanding is he probably saw Paul do something and wanted to work with him. You don't hear that for studio, big budget films because a lot of money is going into them. So usually there's a lot of hoops to jump through to be able to book roles like that.
Like, I'm as much of a fan of the kind of lore of Gladiator as anybody else. So it's like a weird position to be in when you're like a fan, but also having to shoulder some big old responsibility about what the next iteration of it is. And like, I think it ties to the point, like, do you feel when you were
that pressure is a very specific thing.
But I feel like the pressure is related to actually both films because you've got the
Definitely
prestige of the musical on stage and you've got the prestige of Gladiator 1. And like,
why it's such
I
a good
wanted to
pairing.
go back briefly to the audition process. What was that like?
Oh my goodness.
What did you do?
I mean, it was really insane. It was kind of a 3.5-month period of time.
Wow. 3.5 months to be auditioning, that's so much work, especially something as big as Wicked, because it involves so much more than just acting. There's acting, but there's also the vocal aspect that is in there as well. It's a long time to be auditioning for something.
Anyway, that was my first audition, and then I had a callback where I had to do some scenes and some more songs.
Was this with Cynthia Erivo, who's
not yet?
Not yet. Okay,
She's
right.
the best in the entire world, but we actually never chemistry read together.
Really?
We never
None of
chemistry.
that.
Interesting. For anyone who doesn't know, a chemistry read is a test to see if two actors mesh well together. It's usually done when there are two leads or if there's a love interest as well. It's just to make sure that both actors look good on screen together, but also to see if they have chemistry, to make sure that they can work together.
Alone, and they just gave me more of Glinda's material and more songs from the second movie, some of the more emotional bits for her, just to see how it felt. And
I mean, that in contrast to what Paul was saying his audition was, this is way more common than what Paul did, right? Paul just had a conversation with the director and that was kind of it. Whereas here's Ariana Grande talking about multiple auditions. And you have to remember, she's just one actor, right? She's just the person who got the role.
Played for a while. I stayed alongside.
Is this you and John?
Me and John Chu.
Right.
And then they did chemistry tests a few weeks later. So it was 3 rounds for me. And I read with 2 different actresses. I stayed for like 3.5 hours.
Jeez.
Final day. And I had cried so much. My lashes were like this, kind of. So
what scenes did you do for the like acting?
Auditions are normally your most emotional scenes. They're normally the scenes that would be the most difficult to do. Directors want to see your take on what could be arguably the most interesting parts of their film. It would be a lot, definitely. It would be very draining for sure. And she said 3.5 hours, right? Oh my gosh, imagine. And again, she's the actress who got it. So you have to remember, she said she read with, I think, 2 other actresses, I believe she said. These actors are also going into that room, leaving everything in the room, and then they didn't get it. Yeah, it can be a very brutal industry for sure.
The final chemistry read, we did everything. We did Popular, we did Defying Gravity, we did For Good, we did the scene.
Again, the most difficult parts, right?
We did one of the scenes
Still
leading
from
up
the-
to.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, from the stage show.
Okay.
Because we didn't have a movie script yet.
Okay.
We didn't have
Wow.
one.
Right.
But I took my lashes and I
That's
said,
crazy.
and when John was finally like, okay, John Chu, our brilliant director, when he finally was like, we're good, thank you so much. Collect yourself, go to the car, take a deep breath, you did a beautiful job. I was like, thanks everyone, and I left my lashes on the mirror because I left everything else in the room. I was like, why not?
By the sounds of things, you were unbelievably like your heart was invested before that. So how do you? I don't know. How do you cope with the prospect of getting it or not getting it at that point? You just kind of leave it in the room.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to find out?
Oh gosh, I mean, it was another 3-4 weeks of waiting after that, and it felt like 7 years. Yeah, it felt really long. But I don't know. I just kind of trusted that I had done the work. I had prepared as much as I possibly could have. I had a whole pink section in my closet that I had, purchased little things to have a Galindified section.
All you can do, right?
I did everything I possibly could. I left it all, and I knew that if it wasn't meant to be mine, that's okay.
Because you've done everything.
And I love Wicked, and I just wanted it to be beautiful even if it wasn't mine.
I'm like a target audience for it, and I like love musicals, and I think it's not just. I think it's not just for people who love musicals or love Wicked, and I think that's
True.
a testament to what you guys create. If it was just an original piece that you guys have made, you've made the perfect version of that. I think, because
Thank
it's a
you.
really hard thing
Yeah.
to.
And I think it's also, I mean, Wicked was a stage play before that. It was a musical on Broadway before it was made into a movie. I'm sure everybody knows that. You've had numerous actresses before you who have played this role and have played this role, as others would say, perfectly. When you talk to people who are fans of Wicked, they do have their favorite Alphaba actresses and they have their favorite Glinda actresses. So a lot of pressure, definitely. I can only imagine.
Step into something that people adore, but also to be yourself and Cynthia at the absolute center of it. It's like a big responsibility.
Yep.
It's a big responsibility that I think you both shoulder extraordinarily well. Did you feel that when you were shooting it, or do you just kind of go into work headspace and go and
Thank
make
you.
it?
I feel like I could ask you all the same questions.
We can talk.
I
It's
know
true.
we are Glicked, and there's lots
We
in
are
common,
Glicked.
but there's a lot more in common that
Yeah,
I
totally.
think there's. I feel like I have to echo every single question the same way. But Cynthia is just an absolute brilliant gift of a human being. I think we tried to keep the pressure out of the room, obviously, as much as possible, so we could just stay present in
That's all
the
you can do,
material
really,
and
in a role like
each
that.
other and hearing each other and listening to each other.
I'm watching you guys in press tour. You're like in love with each other.
Insufferable, yeah.
So many parts from the press tour did go viral. I think we all know some.
Really, I thank you, Cynthia.
Not the time, helicopter!
I know a lot of people were annoyed and thinking that it was a bit how emotional these women did get during the press, but I think it just speaks to the love that they had for these characters and the love that they had for this movie. I thought it was so funny.
But what about you? I mean, you must have felt that pressure as well, because
Yeah.
how old were you when you first saw Gladiator?
Well, the film came out when I was 4.
Wow.
He's a
So my parents didn't let me
baby.
see it when I was 4.
Okay.
And then I watched it with my dad when I was 13,
Mhm.
in and around that age. The only thing I can kind of draw a line between is like doing that and playing Stanley and Streetcar. These are like
Mm.
two performances that have preceded me, in like Marlon Brando,
Ah.
Streetcar, and Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of big shoes to fill, Marlon Brando is arguably one of the best actors ever.
And Gladiator. They're extraordinary because the material is so good and because they're talented. But I think you're wrestling between, or I actually wasn't wrestling with the idea of what I wanted to do, but I was wrestling with the idea of how it would be perceived. I think that's my big thing as an actor, that I want to have a more complicated answer, but that's the thing that I constantly struggle with.
That's so refreshing and relatable to hear. That is a huge pressure of being an actor, especially with where the industry is right now. There's so much added pressure now because, and oh, this could be very controversial. This could honestly be a conversation, a whole conversation on its own. It is a business. It does cost more to make films today. There is this added pressure because of that. You not only have to prove that you can do the role, but you also have to prove that people want to see you in that role. There's a lot that can be said around that. And if I were to start talking about it, it would be a tangent on its own. That's all I'll say about it for now, at least. Bringing it back though, it is refreshing to hear somebody talk about that perception, because that is something that we're told not to think about. But it's so hard not to think about it when it has been made kind of a big part of our careers now, not just in the roles we play, but now because of social media, people have way more access to you. They can know way more than they ever could before. It's a very big and complicated conversation to have. So I'll leave it at that now.
About it, but I also struggle with how my work is perceived, because it's like the thing that I want to be proudest of. It's the thing that I want people to hopefully see as good,
Of course.
or moving, or whatever it is. With Gladiator and Streetcar, I made conscious decisions to not watch Streetcar, the film, which was one of my favorite films. When I was preparing for that, I made the same decision with Gladiator. I think the clue that I took was from Ridley when he told me he cast me because of normal people. He told me the
Great
story
show.
where Ridley Scott always watches a bedtime story before he goes to sleep, and at the time when he was casting Gladiator 2, he was watching normal people in bed, which just the image of that is
So yeah, exactly what I said. Ridley Scott saw him in something and just wanted to work with him.
I think the clue that I took in terms of the direction that he wanted me to go was from the work that he'd seen. Like, there's nothing that I've done before that indicates this is your guy for an action dramatic
True.
epic. The work that I've
True.
done before is more internalized.
Very
and,
much.
You know, when you see like artists or painters that you really admire, you look at like Van Gogh's got a particular style or Vermeer or somebody like that, and nobody's asking Vermeer to paint like Van Gogh or anything like that. So
True.
I think actors should be afforded something somewhat similar to that, because obviously you're trying to change the person you're playing every time. I'm trying to change.
I love that. I do. Actors can kind of get a bad rap if they play the same characters or similar characters. I think some actors do love developing different people who are just so different from them and fully just losing themselves in a role, whereas others like to keep a bit of themselves, keep a piece of them always. And I don't think we should judge actors based on what style they do, because every actor is different. Every path is different, just like every person is different.
But to do that, you're kind of operating from what fulfills you as an artist, and what fulfills me is maybe different to you, or it's different to Russell, or it's different to
Exactly.
Marlon Brando, or it's different to you know what I mean. So I was like, this is my skill set that I love operating with, and so I was trying to bring that quality of performance to something much bigger, and not something that I think you would commonly associate with a film like Gladiator 2. How long did you guys work together before you actually got in front of camera?
We had a pretty long rehearsal process.
Right.
We had rehearsal tracks that we recorded in the studio.
I've heard about this. You and Cynthia went into the studio yourself, or like
when we first got there, we recorded our rehearsal tracks just so that we would have something to rehearse to, and John Chu, our director, would have something to camera block to, and to do like the storyboards and everything. But we did sing everything live on set.
So before the musical Les Mis was made into a film, actors used to go into a studio, sing the songs that they would be doing in the film, and then they would play that while they were filming. And then Les Mis came along, where they filmed it more like they would a live musical, where the actors are singing the songs on set and going through those emotions while they're singing the songs.
When was the last time you were on set filming something before Wicked?
Before Wicked?
Yeah.
Like a movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really done anything.
Really?
I had a small cameo in Don't Look Up, and that was really cool. But I was just kind of being a pop star and singing in a different way.
That's such a crazy thing, because it feels like.
So this is my first
crazy.
gig, really.
You can hear that and think, wow, this was your first role. And while, yes, it was her first role on screen, I think we have to also remember she has done a lot of theater training, not to mention she's a pop star with pop star money, so she can hire really good coaches. I think that's just something to always kind of bring back and remember and think about, because it can be so easy to compare yourself and think, wow, her first role was Glinda in Wicked.
I've been asked so many times about like to describe what set was like, and I think the only way I feel like I can accurately describe it is that Ridley built a city. When you're in the Colosseum and you walk out the big gates out of the Colosseum, and I remember it as long as I live, when you turn right, there's the arch going into the Via Appia, and then 600 meters down the road is the Emperor's Palace. It's big.
A lot of big scale films no longer use practical or as much practical to be able to actually see that set would help a lot. A lot of the times nowadays, rather than using practical CGI would be used. Rather than actually seeing the set, you do have to use more of your imagination. There's just something that sometimes can be lost with that. It sounds like for both of these films, there was a lot of practical, a lot of set that was actually there. And I think that can only help your actors.
How are you holding up? How do you feel?
I
How are
feel
you taking
all
care
of
of yourself?
the. I feel grateful, but I also feel like I don't know.
Exhausted?
It's exhausting, but it's also like a set of skills that I've never had to exercise. I
Right.
don't know how good I am at the
Selling of the thing.
It's not the selling. It's actually just the kind of you spend your life as an actor. Like I feel way safer on a set than I do when it's like Paul is at the center of a big film. It's really not like
Yeah. As an actor, you don't really think about that stuff. I mean, I guess I can only speak about myself. It's so interesting to think about too, because I mean, when it's time to do the press and talk about your film, it's now time for you to showcase yourself. And that stuff sounds so scary. Of course, actors who are at this scale pay money to people to help train them. I don't know if that's something you can really ever get used to be honest. It's such a strange part of the industry that is so foreign and weird, honestly. So, yeah, I can only imagine.
get a thing at all. It's actually just something that I'm.
Because you don't think about it as an artist going into it at all.
And also, I
Exactly.
just don't know, like you have an idea about what running around the world with a huge film is going to look like. Though when you're in the middle of it, you're just trying to find little pockets of yourself that feel recognizable.
Right.
But it's been true of like indie films that I've made or anything. It's like the great oasis in it all is like seeing the people that you made the film with. And you kind of are able to hold on to them in the madness of running around the world. But I think the thing that makes me really proud of it all is that like for both I imagine Wicked and Gladiator 2 is it's like it's championing the thing that we both adore, which is cinema. And I feel like my favorite moment in the film, like categorically, is the moment when you both dance together.
At the Ozfest.
That's my favorite. Yeah, I think that's and also the way that it's shot feels like it's like in a totally different visual language to everything else that we see in the film. And it's just really moving.
Yeah, it was a 10-minute take every time we did it because we did it fully through every single time.
Yeah.
And Alice Brooks, our DP, they had to work on 500 different lighting cues that would happen in the scene so that it could feel that way. And we started with the close-up coverage and worked our way out.
Okay.
And
I think that's a great way to have done that as well. Because it means that like the first time that you're doing it,
but it didn't
you're like,
it felt that way every single time. And she gave the same performance every single time. And that whole day, it was 13 hours on set. Every single supporting actor and dancer and person in the room was so warm and silent and held so much space. And it was just such a powerful room because everyone felt like they were a part of it. And they really were. And it's just an extraordinary thing to watch someone leave every bad thing that's ever happened to them.
Man, is this a theme now? I'm gonna cry.
In the center of that room.
But also for Glinda to take that off her, it's just beautiful from both of you. But I think it's always like when you have that kind of group of essays around you, they'll always be the best kind of metric for if it's working in the room. I think it must have given you great confidence at the moment to be like, I think this will translate on screen, which it absolutely does.
Yeah, the energy was just very palpable.
Yes.
How do you ever get the feeling when you're watching something back?
Yeah.
Do you watch things when you're forced to in the audience when you go see the premieres?
No,
or do you like it? Do you hate it?
I think I would love to get to the point in my career where I don't watch it because I find it difficult, especially the first time. You like watching the screening room by yourself, and you're not getting a sense of the atmosphere. But I also think, as a young actor, I think you've got to watch it because you got to know like Yeah, you
Agreed.
gotta go.
I think that one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as a performer is getting comfortable seeing yourself on screen. I think that you learn so much. It helps you learn the difference between showing how you feel and just feeling how you feel. It's something that I think you just need to get used to seeing yourself on screen.
So what this thing felt amazing on the day doesn't necessarily translate. This thing that felt like it was an absolute shambles works. I mean, I started to journal more
Mm,
during the actual filming process, so that I'm able to track what the feeling was like in
I
the
love
room when we
that.
were making it.
Wow.
So that when I
Mm,
watch it, you're able to kind of cross-reference your experience versus what you think the finished product is. But again, it's subjective. I think it's a useful tool. Hopefully, it will accelerate me to the point where I don't watch it back.
Hmm.
But I
Do you watch like playback on set
No.
sometimes?
I actually did for the first time on this, just with the fight scenes.
Right.
I think I don't have the capacity to separate
I don't want to know what
my
it's looking
big
like.
face.
Some actors, this is fully preference. Some actors want to watch playback so they can see what's working, what's not working. Sometimes a director will also kind of show you something because maybe you're missing something or they're trying to articulate a point. Some actors just don't want to because it could get them in their head.
How much of a plan, like, does he have it completely mapped out, or is he
Yeah.
open to improv? What
He's
is like the
open
process?
to. He'll always like storyboard it.
Right.
Like he gave me like the most extraordinary rap gift of like 3 original storyboards, like in his
Wow.
drawing. He drew them and gave it to me at rap, and I cherish those.
Hmm.
But he will plan meticulously and then wants you to actively surprise him.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how much room for play.
Yeah, and it also comes down to the people that he casts. It's like you're not going to have. I think any of the actors in that cast come in and do what they're told because
Right.
you don't want. I don't think I don't think your job as an actor is to do what you're told.
No.
I think it's to do.
Agreed.
What feels honest.
It's to have a conversation with the director, both actively, like real life conversation, but also an active conversation through the work that you're doing. And then I'm a big advocate for like best idea wins.
No.
If that's the director, or if that's the DP, or if that's you,
Yeah.
or the actor that you're working.
Acting is such a collaboration, so yeah, agreed.
And Ridley, I think champions that often.
Can I just, I know this is like the most basic question,
Yeah.
and I know the answer because I've read it online, but like, when did you fall in love with acting, and when did you learn that you have the gift that you have?
Hmm.
What?
I don't know. I fell in love with this when I did Phantom of the Opera.
Mhm.
I have never felt that kind of adrenaline
Mm.
since that, which is kind of a bizarre thing, but I think it's a testament to, like, I was never expecting to be an actor, so
Mhm.
the act of being on stage was such a like left field thing.
That's insane.
And I just absolutely
Mhm.
felt, I'll never forget, like, we did the like Phantom of the Opera, and I remember being wheeled out on this like fake organ and fucking not having a clue how to play the organ. And I remember my knees. I remember standing there, my knees just like before I went out, they were just like, and then getting on the stage, they just went.
Yeah.
I still was
Mm.
like deeply nervous, but it just something was like.
I think every actor has that moment that they can distinctly remember when they first, caught that spark, that little part of them that said that this was more than just something they enjoyed. It was physically a part of them. Yeah, I love hearing these stories as well.
I just want to say I think you're extraordinary in this film,
As
and
same,
I just
you're
think
brilliant.
you're brilliant and one of the most talented people on this planet.
Oh my God, well, I feel the same way.
Just think you're brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for doing this wicked.
Yeah,
Also,
for doing wicked.
You're utterly brilliant, and I'm so honored to have done this with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
That's funny. It's so interesting to see these people And just, again, I think when you can see these stars, celebrities, actors, when you can see them as just regular people, it's so much easier to also see yourself being able to do what they do, because again, the difference between them and you is just the hours they put into the craft. So yeah, really interesting conversation. And again, a great pairing. I love watching these kind of videos. If you did enjoy, don't forget to subscribe and let me know down below if there's any other videos that you would want me to react to. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.